Lesson 90. To have something done. Homework. What does the structure, to have something done, communicate?
The structure, to have something done, communicates that we don't do the action ourselves, but that somebody else does it for us.
Give me an example, please.
I don't cut my hair myself. I have my hair cut by a hairdresser.
Do you clean your shoes yourself, or do you have them cleaned by someone else?
I clean my shoes myself.
What can we use instead of the verb to have?
We can use the verb to get instead of the verb to have.
Do very young children sometimes get their homework done for them by their parents?
Yes, very young children sometimes get their homework done for them by their parents.
Power. Powerful. Laptop. Desktop. Do you think governments generally have too much power?
Yes, I think governments generally have too much power.
Who do you think is the most powerful person in this country?
I think the Prime Minister is the most powerful person in this country.
Do laptops use more power than desktop computers?
No, laptops don't use more power than desktop computers. They use less power.
Save. Rescue. Protect. Spend. Do you spend all your money, or do you try to save some and put it in the bank?
I don't spend all my money. I try to save some and put it in the bank.
If you saw someone in difficulty in the sea, how would you try to save their life?
If I saw someone in difficulty in the sea, I'd try to save their life by swimming to them and helping them.
What does an old man carry to save himself from falling over while walking?
An old man carries a walking stick to save himself from falling over while walking.
Would you save any time if you used a different means of transport to come to school?
Yes, I'd save some time if I used a different means of transport to come to school.
When you close a computer program, does it usually remind you to save your work first?
Yes, when I close a computer program, it usually reminds me to save my work first.
Trade. Tradesman. Skill. Bake. Baker. Butcher. Builder. What kind of things does your country mainly trade in?
My country mainly trades in vegetables.
What do we usually mean by a trade?
By a trade, we usually mean a job that a person does mainly with their hands, and for which they need a special skill.
What's one of the best paid trades in your country?
One of the best paid trades in my country is the trade of a builder.
Close. Close. What's the difference between the words close and close?
The difference between the words close and close is that close is a verb meaning shut, whereas close is an adjective meaning near.
What's the closest you've ever been to real danger?
The closest I've ever been to real danger was when I fell off my bike.
Trip. Fortnight. If you went on a trip to New York, what would you see?
If I went on a trip to New York, I'd see the Statue of Liberty Central Park, and the Empire State Building.
When people go on business trips, do their companies usually pay for everything?
Yes, when people go on business trips, their companies usually pay for everything.
Which would you prefer? An exciting trip to a big city for the weekend, or a quiet fortnight on the beach?
I'd prefer a quiet fortnight on the beach.
Every now and again. What does the expression, every now and again, mean?
The expression, every now and again, means:
Is it a good idea to give one's house a thorough cleaning from top to bottom every now and again?
yes, it's a good idea to give one's house a thorough cleaning from top to bottom every now and again.
No longer. What do you do with clothes that you no longer wear?
I give away clothes that I no longer wear.
Island. What's an island?
An island is a piece of land completely surrounded by water.
Ocean. Atlantic. Pacific. Indian. Name me some oceans, please.
The names of some oceans are the Atlantic Ocean, the Pacific Ocean, and the Indian Ocean.
Screen. DVD. CD. Do you prefer to watch films at home on DVD or at the cinema on the big screen?
I prefer to watch films at home on DVD.
Do you buy CDs and DVDs more often in the shops or online?
I buy CDs and DVDs more often online.
Is it bad for your eyes to look at a computer screen for too long?
Yes, it's bad for your eyes to look at a computer screen for too long.
Produce. What does your country produce?
My country produces cars and vegetables.
Boast. What kind of things do people often boast about?
People often boast about their jobs, things that they own, etc.
Necessity. Is wearing a tie a necessity for some occupations these days?
Yes, wearing a tie is a necessity for some occupations these days.
Lesson 91. Tell. Say. What's the most important difference between tell and say?
The most important difference between tell and say is that after tell, we indicate the person we are speaking to, but after say, we usually do not.
Give me an example, please.
She told him that it was important. She said it was important.
After the verb say, how is it possible to indicate the person we are speaking to?
After the verb say, it's possible to indicate the person we are speaking to by using the word to.
For direct speech, which verb do we normally use? Say or tell?
For direct speech, we normally use the verb say.
Give me an example, please.
She said, I'm hungry.
Which of these sentences is correct? He told me to go away, or he said me to go away.
The first sentence, he told me to go away, is correct.
Risen. What are the three forms of rise?
The three forms of rise are rise, rose, risen.
Have you ever risen before the sun has risen?
Yes, I've sometimes risen before the sun has risen.
Gain. Transaction. Degree. What's the difference between to earn and to gain?
The difference between to earn and to gain is that the verb to earn generally means to receive money for work done, whereas the verb to gain means to get more of something.
If you bought a business for £4 million and sold it later for half that amount, would you be gaining by doing so?
No. If I bought a business for £4 million and sold it later for half that amount, I wouldn't be gaining by doing so. I'd be losing.
How much would your loss be?
My loss would be £2 million.
Does your watch generally gain or lose time, or does it keep perfect time?
My watch generally loses time.
What's the best way to gain friends?
The best way to gain friends is to be nice to people.
How long does it take the average student to gain a degree at university in your country?
It takes the average student about 3 years to gain a degree at university in my country.
As regards learning a language, would you gain anything by going to the country where it was spoken?
Yes, as regards learning a language, I'd gain something by going to the country where it was spoken,
Why?
because I'd be able to speak the language every day.
Mark. Out of. Petrol. Well known. Trademark. Are there any marks on these walls?
Yes, there are some marks on these walls.
What kind of marks are they?
They're all kinds of marks.
Who marks your dictations?
I mark my dictations myself.
How many marks did you get in your last English exam?
I got 80 marks out of 100 in my last English exam.
Which petrol company do you think has the most well-known trademark?
I think Shell has the most well-known trademark.
Base. Basis. Basic. What part of the book is this?
It's the bottom or the base of the book.
What do you consider to be the basis of a good life?
I consider good health to be the basis of a good life.
Is it normal for language learners to continue making basic grammatical mistakes even though they know the rules?
Yes, it's normal for language learners to continue making basic grammatical mistakes even though they know the rules.
What do you think is basically the difference between your own language and English?
I think that, basically, the difference between my own language and English is the pronunciation and the grammar.
Include. When you stay at a hotel for one night, does the price you pay usually include breakfast?
Yes, when you stay at a hotel for one night, the price you pay usually includes breakfast.
Brush. What do we use to clean our shoes with?
We use a shoe brush to clean our shoes with.
What other kinds of brushes are there?
There are hairbrushes, toothbrushes, paintbrushes, etc.
Box. Do you like to watch boxing?
No, I don't like to watch boxing.
Why not?
Because it's very unpleasant.
Type. What type of film do you watch most?
I watch comedies the most.
Can you type?
Yes, I can type.
How many words a minute?
About 30 words a minute.
Previous. Occasion. Wedding. Video. Have you met me on many previous occasions?
Yes, I've met you on many previous occasions.
Why do people often make videos of special occasions like weddings?
People often make videos of special occasions like weddings so that they can remember them better.
Plan. Interfere. Interference. What do we mean by a street plan of a town?
By a street plan of a town, we mean a map showing the streets of the town and their names.
Do you usually write your plans in a diary?
No, I don't usually write my plans in a diary.
Do you think it's a good idea for teenagers to plan their futures while still at school?
Yes, I think it's a good idea for teenagers to plan their futures while still at school.
Why?
Because they can consider their choices for longer.
Do you think a young person should be allowed to plan their own future without the interference of their parents?
No, I don't think a young person should be allowed to plan their own future without the interference of their parents.
Why not?
Because young people don't always know what's best.
Strange looking.